Hello, parents. It's Kaylee Schrock. I wanted to give you a little bit of education on our skill practices on Tuesday nights, really how we put those together and why we do them. Really, the purpose of our skill practices is to help our players and our coaches develop. We've put together a team which includes John Sawe, myself, DJ Fisher, Frank DiCristofaro, Brady Shaw with the Comet, Sean Sedlowski, who will be helping us out with the Comets, Jerry Moss, and also we have a pair of Indiana Tech goalies who are very good with working with the kids, who we all have involved. Now, um, part of the plan is to help to have all these coaches help put together practice plans so they can work with different age groups and also help the coaches in different age groups teach the skills in numerous ways. How we've put them together is we've utilized the skill progressions from USA Hockey, which focus on certain skills and concepts for each age group specifically. So, not saying that everything USA Hockey does is perfect, but I believe in a lot of um, what they're doing, especially with the success that they've had in the last 10 to 15 years with the ADM model. Um, like I said, I don't think it's perfect, but it's a really good foundation, and it's proven to have success. So if we take a peek at a skill progression plan, which is almost like a curriculum that you would see from a school teacher, um, if we click on this, I can move my head here. But what this shows is just different skills in each different age group, and you can see this is, for example, this is a 10U. We're in the 10U part of this progression, and you can see the skating skills. The non-bold skills are skills that they should have already learned in 8U. The bold skills are new skills that need to be introduced and hopefully completed or as close to mastered as possible by the time they are 11 and 12. So you see there's 1 foot stops, mohawk turns, and you go down the list and there's puck control and there's different skills in there, and there's passing and receiving, there's shooting, body contact, there's goaltending skills. They also have team play, so this would be like concepts for the 10-year-olds, 9 and 10-year-olds, 2-on-1 situations. There's defensive concepts. And if you have time, I won't get into it in this video. If you want to go to usahockey.com and go to the skill progression manual, it'll even talk about nutrition and just how the coaches should run practices and everything that a 10-year-old should be doing, even on or off the ice. So we've taken these skills and we've put them in a Google Doc, and we have a skating focus, which John Salway, who's our skating coach, he implements the drills or the skating focus for each age group, which you can see they're different here. And then I'll implement the skill focus and the team focus for each age group as well. And then whoever the lead instructor is, right, his job is to look at the coaches who have signed up for that practice and put together a practice plan based on the skating focus and skill focus and how many coaches he has on the ice. Now, we also have a goalie focus for each age group, and um, they will be incorporated into the practice plan and work with whoever the lead instructor is on what skills the goalies need to be accomplishing or working on that given week. So what we've communicated to our skill coaches and also our coaches in the association are different ways that we can complete practices. So here's an example, right? So if we look at DJ Fisher, who's on the ice next week with our 10U players, if he's got one coach signed up for his session, we felt it was important to go over different ways to execute a practice based on the number of coaches you have and different styles to try to keep the kids moving as best as possible. So here are some different ways that we've described to our coaches on how to teach practices, and I can make this a little bit bigger so you can see. So one way would be a mass teach. This is when you see this a lot of times as a warm up at a camp. If you have one coach in the middle of the ice, and then you have maybe 30 or even 40 players surrounding them spread out, where the coach will bring them in, teach a skill, and then they'll spread out and execute that skill while the coach will go around and give as much feedback as he can to the players and make corrections. Um, this is something that you see a lot of times where a coach, and I've seen John do this, will have the players put their sticks down and do edge work around their sticks. You can do a lot of mass teach with partner passing, or a lot of times we'll play a friend and foe game where the kids pass, and then on the whistle, whoever has the puck has to puck protect from whoever was passing, and then on the next whistle they go back to passing. But there's several different ways you can run a mass teach, and there's also partner drills you can incorporate with that. Another way that you can run a practice or a portion of your practice is by doing line skating, and this is kind of a traditional way and kind of old school, if you will, but having the players line up at the goal line and then skating in a straight line down the ice, or sometimes um, it can even be diagonal, or you can see if you're doing crossovers, you can do Russian circles, but um, a lot of times it's a skating pattern where you're trying to utilize the full ice. Now, what we'd like to see is, instead of, a lot of times you'll see coaches, they'll have the kids skate down and they'll stop at the other end, and then you have to wait for the slowest kid to finish the drill before um, they get their second rep in. What we want to do, in anytime we do line skating, is try to communicate to the kids that when they're going down the ice, when they get to the end, to go back around the outside. That way they're moving the whole time, and we can kind of keep the line running like an assembly line, and the kids get more reps. This is a great way to get the kids, like I said, repetitions, but also teach technique, where they can do the same skill over and over and over throughout the entire length of the ice, and it helps build a little bit of muscle memory and allows them more repetitions to get familiar with whatever technique you're teaching. Um, Another popular one, which you see a lot in the ADM, is stations. This is a good way to do multiple concepts at once. So, or in different ways. So if I wanted to do a skating, I could do a shooting, I could do a game, I could do a battle drill, um, I could do edge work, and you know, I could do a stationary passing if I keep my kids moving enough in all the stations to give them a break. So this is a great way to kind of manipulate your practices and be real dynamic and putting a plan together. The last one is small area games. This is a lot of fun for the kids. It's a way to teach some of your concepts um, in a practice. A lot of times, I think it's even great to do games at the beginning. And as coaches, a lot of times we know where the kids are going to fail, and we'll do the game. They'll experience the failure, and then we'll go to the drill, where now they understand the importance of why they need to learn the skill, because, well, that's why the game was so hard. That's why I wasn't successful in the games, because I didn't understand or was unable to execute a skill. So, and every coach is different, but again, we want to, you know, we want to help our coaches learn different ways and different formations they can create practices, and also for our lead instructors to get comfortable in all those forms as well, so we can get the kids at as many reps as possible. Um, you've heard me say reps a lot, and I'll get to that, because I think that's where some of the feedback has been, is, you know, why has my kid, especially in the first week, you know, they weren't moving enough. And I really think that's a really good question, and one I want to answer, help the parents understand too, that a lot of times the first practice is very much like the first day of school, and sometimes you're setting up expectations, you're getting used to the skill level of the players on the ice, You're getting used to the coaches who are on the ice and also learning what their skill sets are. Um, so, it's very important that we get better with every single practice. And the first practice isn't always going to be the smoothest. And I can promise you that um, I would rather have our coaches and our um, skill team teach a skill correctly than rush kids through it to make sure we get high repetitions in the first practice or early on in the year, rather than teaching them the correct way to do it, slowing things down, and making sure that the kids are executing the skills and the coaches are understanding how to teach the skills um, the right way. So, um, one issue that we've had last year was definitely the repetitions weren't high enough in the skill sessions, and we didn't have enough coaches on the ice. So this year it was explained to the coaches in the coaches meeting that we had shortly after the strategic plan, was that this was going to be a practice, that this was um, no longer considered a skill session, but a skill practice, and that the coaches were expected to be there. Not that they had to be at every single one, but what we've communicated to the coaches is to use this Google Doc to fill their names in, right? And to put their names in so then our coaches know, our lead instructor knows how many coaches he's going to have on the ice um, for that practice. And this is important, and we really want our managers to encourage our coaches to do this, because if I'm DJ Fisher right now, excuse me, DJ, um, he's helping out, but he also has another job. And when DJ gets to the end of the week and he only has one coach, and maybe this is his only day to put the practice plan together, if he's got Adam Urschel on the ice and he's the only coach at 10U, well, DJ's going to do a mass teach, and it's not going to be DJ's fault if we've got 50 kids, on the ice, and there's 7 coaches out there, but DJ put his practice plan together, um, but no coaches signed up. They signed up too late. So that's why I'd really like to get all the coaches and to fill these slots as soon as possible, so our lead instructors can really prep. Because what I've instructed them is I want the practice plans to be out no later than 12 p.m. the day of that skill session. So if they want to wait until that Monday night to put the practice plan together, they still have to send it to the goalie coach to review it, or whoever the goalie instructor is for that practice, so they can make sure that the stations or the practice has allotted enough space and time for the goalies to give the goalies individual development as well. They need to do that and have the practice plan out by 12 p.m. the day of the skill session, to give the coaches um, at least 5.5 hours to look at the quick video. Last week, our coaches sent out videos and a practice plan sheet like this, with where all the coaches were supposed to be on the ice. Something that we've identified too, that I'll communicate to the coaches, is it will really help us if we can have every player bring a black and white jersey. Um, that would really be beneficial. That way we can separate the kids by skill level. We can make the games more effective, because we can put our top players against each other, and our players that are a lower level of skill against each other. So we maximize their opportunities to touch the puck. The last thing that would really be helpful for our coaches and instructors, especially the goalie coaches, is if we know how many goalies are going to be on the ice. And that's something that I will communicate to the coaches to help us make sure that if we've got 5 goalies on the ice, and we need to make sure that we've got 5 nets on the ice, and that we give some one-on-one goalie work to the kids, while maybe the other one kid, while the other 4 are in stations, or however um, Ryan or Jerry think they need to work with the goalies that week. They have enough information, and it also helps us, plan practices. If you know how many goalies, it really does help to know how many nets you need. you can run a small area game, if you have to run a game with 2 nets or 3 nets or 1 net, it really does make a difference. So again, what we're going to look for is, um, you know, having the coaches sign up is huge. It helps us plan the practices. If your kid can have, if you can put a black and white jersey in their bag, that would be very helpful. And then the number of goalies on the ice will really help us make our plans better. But I wanted to thank those parents who offered feedback and also educate those on why we're doing this and kind of what the methods are and what we envision for our kids and our program, because I think all of our coaches and I know our skill guys really want to see our kids get better. We want to see our coaches get better, and I think above all, like we need to get better. I need to get better, and the only way we can do that is if we hear the feedback. And I think it's important that if you have an issue, bring it to a coach or bring it to myself, so then I can address it. But like I tell the kids all the time, it's important to stay positive, and if you've got an issue, let's communicate and talk about it. It doesn't do any good to be part of the problem if you're not willing to be part of the solution. So thank you all. I know this is a bit lengthy, but I felt like you needed to be educated on why we're doing these skill practices. Thank you.